Chapter 1. Today. So it's not going to be just another boring day after all. The final bell rang, signaling the end of another monotonous day at high school. As I walked wearing my favorite dress, the air grew cooler, and a sense of solitude settled around me. The chatter of my classmates gently faded away, replaced by the soft rustling of leaves and the rhythm of my footsteps against the pavement. There was a certain comfort in my routine, a feeling of safety in the familiarity of the journey. The path home from high school had always held a peculiar allure for me. It wasn't the shortest or the most convenient route, but there was an indescribable charm in the winding streets and overgrown foliage. The quaint houses, with their neatly manicured gardens and colorful flower beds, seemed to whisper stories of lives lived within their walls. It was a glimpse into a world outside the confines of textbooks and classrooms, a respite from the mundane routine. Over the years, I had come to know every crack in the sidewalk, every uneven cobblestone, and every secret shortcut tucked away amidst the labyrinthine streets. There was a quaint sense of empowerment to navigating this path. The path home from high school held a special place in my heart, for it was more than just a route. It was a nostalgic journey to the essence of my childhood. As I stepped onto those familiar streets, a flood of memories washed over me, transporting me back to simpler times when life seemed filled with endless wonder and possibility. Every step along that path felt like retracing the footprints of my younger self, as if the very pavement held imprints of my laughter, dreams, and innocent adventures. The houses, once towering and intimidating, now seemed smaller, like faded remnants of a bygone era. Yet, their presence sparked a tapestry of cherished moments etched in my mind. With every stride, the mundane lessons and tedious assignments faded into the background, replaced by the symphony of nature and the nostalgic whispers of childhood. The school's walls, lined with rules and expectations, gave way to open skies and the possibility of exploring my own thoughts, unburdened by the constraints of school. The path home from school offered a respite from the monotony of classes, a space where I felt free and alive. It was here that I experienced my first kiss, a moment etched into the fabric of my memory. As the sun bathed us in its warm glow, our hearts beat with anticipation. Time slowed as our lips met, the world around us fading away. That path, once a refuge, now held the weight of both sweet innocence and,
"Hey, you shouldn't be out here alone. It's dangerous for a young woman like yourself to be out here alone."
His appearance sent an unsettling shiver down my spine. His smile, though seemingly friendly, held an eerie quality that made my skin crawl. His eyes, veiled behind a mask of false warmth, seemed to pierce through my soul with a chilling intensity. Every word he spoke, laced with an air of calculated charm, only deepened the feeling of unease that washed over me. Though he attempted to be pleasant, his presence exuded a disconcerting energy that sent warning signals echoing through my mind. It was as if my instincts recognized the underlying darkness that lurked beneath his carefully crafted facade, leaving me with an unshakable sense of discomfort and an overwhelming urge to escape his presence.
"Hey, why don't I walk you home? It would be a shame if something bad happened to you."
No. I'm fine. Thanks.
"You're beautiful. A woman like you shouldn't be outside at this hour. Why don't I walk you home?"
As a bone-chilling sense of dread washed over me, I abruptly turned away from the man, my heart pounding in my chest. The air thickened with an eerie familiarity, conjuring memories of a past best left buried. Shadows whispered hauntingly, evoking the echoes of a childhood trauma that still haunted my nightmares. The path twisted and contorted, mirroring the twisted events that scarred my innocence. Every rustle of leaves became a sinister echo of that awful day, resurrecting long-suppressed fears. Each breath I took carried the weight of that dark chapter, the stench of past horrors tainting the present. With each glance over my shoulder, I caught glimpses of a specter from my past, its malevolent presence reigniting the flames of long-buried pain. Driven by a desperate need to escape, I ran, the specter's lingering touch searing into my soul. The path home, once a symbol of freedom, now served as a cruel reminder of the unspeakable anguish etched into my very being. With each quickened step, my pace escalated to a frantic run, tears streaming down my face, my breath ragged and desperate. Fear propelled me forward, my only focus to escape the man who had sent chills down my spine. I believed I had evaded him, my heart swelled with relief as I looked back, expecting an empty path. But there was nothing. 1 minute turned into 2, stretching into an agonizing eternity. 5 minutes crawled by, and a false sense of safety settled over me like a suffocating blanket. Just as I began to catch my breath and let my guard down, a voice shattered the silence, slicing through the air like a knife. My name, whispered on the wind, freezing my blood in its tracks. How did he know my name? Panic surged through me, every instinct screaming at me to run. I turned to face the source of the voice, and there he was, sprinting towards me with a chilling determination. The look in his eyes betrayed a knowledge that cut through the very core of my being. My mind raced with unanswered questions, each step he took towards me sending shockwaves of terror through my body. How did he know my name? How had he found me? The illusion of my safety was shattered. In that moment, time seemed to warp, the seconds elongating into an agonizing eternity. The path home that had briefly offered solace now transformed into a treacherous trap. With my heart pounding in my chest, I had no choice but to flee once more, propelled by a renewed surge of fear and adrenaline. As I ran, I couldn't shake the haunting feeling that he held a twisted power over me, a sinister knowledge that pierced the very depths of my soul. How he knew my name remained an enigma, fueling the terrifying chase that ensued, a desperate race against a predator who seemed to know my every move. Breathing heavily, I scanned my surroundings, relieved to find no trace of the man who had pursued me. Questions gnawed at my mind like a relentless itch. How did he know my name? Where were the people who usually crowded these streets? A sinking realization washed over me as I remembered that today was a special event in town, and I had deliberately distanced myself from the community. Now, the empty streets mocked my isolation, amplifying my vulnerability. Aware of the proximity of my house, I summoned the last reserves of my strength and sprinted towards it, my gasps for air barely sustaining me. Finally, I reached the door and stumbled inside, slamming it shut behind me. Racing to my room, I locked the door and collapsed onto the floor, tears streaming down my face. Panic and confusion overwhelmed me, clinging to my every thought. I knew I needed to reach out for help, to call someone, but my phone lay abandoned in my bag in the living room. Though I found temporary refuge within the confines of my room, fear still gripped me tightly. The mere thought of opening my door sent shivers down my spine, an unsettling reminder of the vulnerability that lay just beyond. I felt a mix of relief and apprehension. Yes, I was safe within these four walls, but the lingering uncertainty kept me on edge, my mind conjuring sinister scenarios. Summoning a sliver of courage, I made the decision to retrieve my phone, to seek the reassurance and safety that connecting with someone could provide. However, the fear that had taken root in my heart made it difficult to take that next step. I hesitated, my hand lingering on the doorknob, contemplating the unknown dangers that awaited me beyond. Time stood still as I grappled with my fear, locked in a battle between self-preservation and the desperate need for contact. The room felt suffocating, the walls closing in on me as I fought with my own trepidation. Eventually, my determination won out, and I mustered the strength to open the door, ready to face the uncertainties that awaited me on the other side. With a trembling hand, I turned the doorknob and cautiously opened the door. As I peered into the hallway, a sense of relief washed over me. I was alone. I was safe. Taking a deep breath, I hurried to the living room, my eyes darting around in search of my bag. Once found, I snatched it up and fumbled for my phone, my fingers trembling as I dialed my mother's number. As her familiar voice greeted me on the other end, I poured out the details of the terrifying encounter. Her words of comfort and reassurance calmed my racing heart, but her advice struck a disheartening chord. She urged me to stay inside and contact the police, but deep down, I knew they wouldn't be able to do much without evidence of a